The ABC 17 Stormtrack Severe Weather Special, sponsored by ATR Towing and Recovery and Boone Electric Cooperative, starts now.
Welcome to the ABC 17 Stormtrack Severe Weather Special. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner. With a new severe weather season comes a whole new set of threats the weather team has to look out for. Here in Missouri, severe weather season is already underway, and in a typical season, we are no stranger to heavy rain, flooding, and hail, as well as tornadoes. Tonight, the Stormtrack weather team is taking an in-depth look at the month ahead. Plus, we'll tell you how to prepare yourself in the event you are caught in severe weather. Here at ABC 17 News, we take severe weather events that could disrupt your daily life very seriously. That's why we've developed a plan to alert you to severe weather that might impact mid-Missouri. Here's a look at what goes into issuing a weather alert day. Right here, I'll actually circle it for you so you can see where we're keeping a close eye on. This is where we have some organized circulation there that's moving towards Gasconade and eventually Herman, just south of the Missouri River. Always tracking, always alerting. That's our mission for the ABC 17 Stormtrack weather team, and it's why we have a plan in place to give Missouri as much lead time as possible before severe weather threatens. Heat, flooding, and tornadoes are among the most deadly types of severe weather each year. Statewide, there were 50 reported tornadoes in 2021 and more than 400 damaging wind reports last year. During our typical spring severe weather season that runs March through May, we had about 80 reports of damaging winds, 50 reports of severe hail, and 7 tornadoes. The Stormtrack weather team issues weather alert days based on a set of criteria that focuses on the most dangerous and impactful weather all year round. In the spring, that means we're monitoring for the potential of tornadoes, 60-mile-per-hour winds, large hail, flash flooding, and heat indices above 105 degrees. Along with the real-time and model data our meteorologists use to prepare severe weather forecasts, we also lean on the Storm Prediction Center's severe weather outlooks. The risk levels start at marginal, meaning isolated severe storms are possible but limited in coverage and intensity, all the way up to a rare high risk for the threat of widespread life-threatening storms. You'll often see these risk maps in our weather forecasts on TV and online. They're a good tool for showing the overall likelihood of severe weather over a specific area. When a weather alert day is in effect, you'll find a complete breakdown of what to expect in the Insider blog on abc17news.com and on the Stormtrack weather app. On air, you'll see red weather alert day icons above each day on the 7-day forecast that the weather alert day is in effect. The Stormtrack weather app is a great resource as storms move in to keep an eye on the radar, get instant warnings and alerts, and watch our live stream coverage. This is especially important if you lose power. Stay informed by following ABC 17 News on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and downloading our app. In 2021, the Stormtrack weather team issued 9 weather alert days for severe storms. One of those was on October 24th when an EF2 tornado ended up touching down in Lynn County. The storm damaged several structures, nearly flattening one mobile home. Data from the U.S. Census shows that more than 22 million Americans live in a manufactured or mobile home, but like the storm in Purdon proved, they're not the safest places to seek shelter during severe weather. Stormtrack meteorologist Kevin Schneider looked into that.
We tell you all the time during severe weather to shelter in the lowest interior room with as many walls between you and the outside as possible. We also tell you to get out of mobile or manufactured homes if possible. Why is that?
As you get lower in that EF scale, you start seeing more damage to trailer homes and mobile homes and modular homes than you do to the stick-built homes.
47% of fatalities occur in mobile homes, while they only make up about 5% of all homes. Here in Missouri, we average about 45 tornadoes per year. So what are mobile home sellers doing to ensure Missourians' safety? I talked to the owner of Omega Homes about that.
Parameters and categories for wind, and it's called the wind zone. And so these things, again, have to be built to sustain the winds that are typical in a particular area. Again, that goes back to each home has a manufacturer's manual, okay? And it says how it's to be set up, and it says how it's to be anchored. And so the anchoring systems, which have to be, again, approved by the state because of our licensing, that we've anchored something according to the manufacturer's specifications.
I did some digging into the anchoring systems themselves and what those straps are rated to withstand, and it looks like it's closer to about 110 mile-per-hour winds if they're anchored properly. Now, that would cover EF1 damage. Unfortunately, in mid-Missouri, that only accounts for 2 out of every 3 tornadoes that have been documented. Now, this isn't a knock on mobile homes by any means. They're a great, affordable way of living, but we just want you to know what to do when you find yourself in a severe weather scenario in places like that.
They should definitely have a plan of action in terms of what to do if severe weather does impact their area.
They provide shelter from the hail, the rain, the lightning, those types of events that we experience in severe weather. But when it comes to tornadoes, they are not safe to be in, and people need to have a plan to get somewhere where it's either more sturdy building or get underground like in a basement.
And Kevin, we were lucky enough to be a part of some nationwide research groups to help with this problem.
Yeah, that study was looking at a different way to issue tornado warnings, but one of the benefits was added lead time, where we could possibly be talking about up to 60 minutes of heads up, which would be pivotal for folks in mobile homes.
Even when we don't issue a weather alert day, spring weather can still be incredibly impactful. Mid-Missouri farmers know that better than anyone. Stormtrack meteorologist John Ross spoke with a local 7th-generation farmer whose family has seen it all.
This land lies in the heart of mid-Missouri and hugs the Missouri River. The family that has farmed it since the days of Lewis and Clark say they wouldn't trade it for the world, even if that means a yearly battle with Mother Nature.
It's not a job, it's a lifestyle.
Montauk County farmer Andy Clay says while he loves his way of life, he understands the weather could put it in jeopardy at any time.
So the drier it is, our grass isn't growing, just like some people aren't mowing their yards. Well, it's the same for the cattle mowing the pasture, per se. There's no rain and the grass isn't growing.
Spring is a critical season for farmers in mid-Missouri. How the weather behaves over the next few months will help decide what harvest looks like this fall.
If it's dry enough, the seed will sit there until it comes to rain.
Dr. Justin Klepechka, rice extension specialist with the University of Missouri, says adequate spring rainfall is critical for row crop farmers.
If we have enough moisture, to where it's kind of imbibing some of that water, maybe germinates, but just doesn't get enough to come out of the ground or make a good stand, then that could be a complete loss and either replant scenario or just a crop failure.
Still, too much rain can also be a problem, maybe even a bigger one.
On a flooding, it's much different because it creates actual land damage, just like 2019 when we had local levees busted due to the high water.
Dr. Klepechka says flood waters can greatly impact the makeup of soil.
In layman's terms, when that soil gets flooded, those soil aggregates can burst and they'll become more broken up and they'll essentially become less good soil than what it not as good a soil as what it had originally been.
We realize the risk of farming along the Missouri River, but high risk is high reward too.
So we've got the good fertile soil, and if we can keep from flooding that between when we're planting the crop and when we want to harvest the crop, obviously we're going to come out with a good yield.
Not only can flood waters cause long-term damage to your land, Clay says the isolated nature of the destruction means it won't drive up demand enough to compensate for his losses.
A drought is usually more of a widespread effect, so we see a market increase typically in a drought. Where on the flood side of things, we typically do not.
Dr. Klepechka says a successful year in the field starts with two things: balanced rainfall and avoiding a late plant.
No two farmers ever going to agree on the perfect rainfall schedule. Somebody needs a rain this week and then somebody needs a dry spell. It just varies by crop and depends on who you're talking to.
We want adequate soil moisture and warm soil temperatures to get started as soon as possible. Typically, we want to be planting corn by April 1st. Not always does Mother Nature allow that. Things are aligning to be very dry for us this year. But unfortunately, that's all out of our control. So we'll do everything we can to set up for the best crop we possibly can.
Reporting in Montauk County, meteorologist John Ross.
One of the main things that why this anxiety occurs is because we feel so powerless against the nature.
Coming up, we're talking with experts to find out how people can calm storm anxieties during severe weather. And then hear what doctors are recommending you do to combat those pesky allergies this spring. And I have a look at the months ahead in my extended long-range forecast. That's all coming up in the ABC 17 Stormtrack Severe Weather Special. Stay with us.